Hi, how are you? For those of you who don't know me, I'm Lisa and I'm a Thermomix consultant. And today I want to show you how to make sauerkraut in your Thermomix. It's one of those things you either love it or you hate it. And for us in our family, there are 6 of us. We have it every morning with breakfast. So we go through a fair portion of this. If we were buying it, it would cost us so much. But we make it ourselves in the Thermomix. So let's get started straight away. I'd love to show you how simple this is so that you can make this beautiful thing for yourself and your family if you want to give it a try, because it's as simple as 2 ingredients. Can you believe that? So straight away, start cooking. The first thing it's asking for is cabbage. By the way, let me just show you what we're aiming for. This is our big jar. I think it's about 3 litres, maybe 2 litres of sauerkraut, and it's been fermenting for a couple of weeks on the shelf here in my pantry. Normally you guys can't see it, it sits up there out the way. That's what we're aiming for today. Now I've started my first round already because this is a process of doing lots of chopping down of cabbage, and we're putting it into, excuse my back, a jar. Okay. Now, I have some shortcut tips to share with you that you're not going to see on Cookidoo. So just hang around for a moment and I'll show you that. So here is my ordinary cabbage. This is going to be an ordinarily cabbage type one. But if we want to do a pink one, often we will do a beetroot flavoured one. You just chop down beetroot like your beetroot salad recipe at the beginning, minus the carrot, the apple, and the pepper onion. And you put that into the Thermomix and off it goes round and round like a salad, chops it up and then put that aside. Then you make your cabbage like we are now. So that's how we make it a flavoured one. You can do it with carrots, you can do it with all sorts of things. Now I'm just cutting up my cabbage here, and it says into 5 centimetre portions. That's so that it fits down your blade shaft. If it's too big, it'll bounce around on top. But I do have some tips for you in a second. So let's get the 500 grams in, which is a fair amount. And then your second ingredient in a moment is going to be your salt. And the salt is important. It helps the fermenting process and it helps the liquid release out of the leaves, which is what we want it to do shortly as well as we get the Thermomix to stir it for us. And that's one of my biggest tips, that the Thermomix will actually massage the moisture out of these leaves for you, which is going to make your life so much easier. So let's just get this weight up so that we can, there we go. So that we can get this going. So no more than 500 grams though, otherwise you're just not going to get a nice dice in there. Even 500 is pushing the friendship a little bit, but I've got a tip to show you that makes sure that it gets all chopped in there. So I will show you my tip in a second. Just get the last little bit in. We're up to 400. It's amazing. This cabbage itself is going to look like it's going to weigh only about 600 grams anyway. All right, here we go. So 460, that'll do. Let me just show you how much that actually is when I take the lid off. It's a fair amount in that bowl, isn't it? Okay, so click on next. It's going to ask for 1.5 teaspoons of Himalayan salt. I think you could probably use any salt. The idea behind it is it releases the moisture from the leaves and helps the fermenting process, but also helps stop it going moldy and things like that. The salt is a preserving agent. So let's click on next. Now it says insert the measuring cup. But what I'm going to do instead, this is important. So for those of you who are going to give this go at home and you're going to do 500 grams, use your spatula. You can see mine's already dirty from the first batch. Put it through the lid because this is going to force those leaves that might otherwise bounce on the top down to those blades. Speed by 3 seconds. Let's give it a go. Oh, that is such a quick chop. I actually suspect I still didn't get some of those top ones down. I may need to repeat this step. But the beautiful thing about guided recipes, yeah, I am going to repeat it, is that you are in charge of it still. So even though that didn't chop as far as I wanted it to, let's do it again. Step back again, step forward again, and spin it up. Let's see if we get it to chop this time. I reckon that one's better. So that was another chop of that. Same with your salads, you can always do a re-chop. I would suggest you follow the guided recipes though and not wing it, because if you wing it, you'd probably forget about the time. 1 second goes so quick in a Thermomix. All right, we have that mostly chopped down. There's a few large chunks still. Actually, there's only 2. We'll leave them. They stuck to the sides. Now what we're going to do is we're going to massage this in the Thermomix. So ordinarily it says transfer to a bowl. You chop another 500 grams, transfer to a bowl, and then it says in the recipe to rub it with your hands until the water comes out. I have a shortcut. Well, it does take longer, but I don't have to be in my kitchen. So hang tight. Let me show you. Let's push our house key and get back to the driving screen. I'm going to put 10 minutes on my timer. I'm going to then put on reverse speed 2. What that's going to do is it is going to take the handwork out of massaging those leaves and getting them to release the liquids. So you're going to end up with something that looks a bit like this. I don't know if you guys can see, but you can see in there, it's all frothy. That's what you're aiming for. It's release the liquid out of those leaves and starting the fermenting process. So I'm going to do this now for 10 minutes. I'll decant it into here and I'll continue the process. I will come back shortly though once I've got my jar as full as I can with my cabbage here, and I'm going to show you how to make the brine to finish it off and put it aside. So we'll see you really soon for step 2. Bye for now. Okay guys, I have now done all of the cabbage. So I've done I think 5 batches of 500 grams of cabbage. I'm about to decant the last bit in. It's all frothy. You can hear the gas bubbles in it. And I'm just going to put this into my jar, which will bring it up nice and full, but not too full. As I mentioned earlier, if you get too high to the top, it's a bad idea. It'll actually bubble over. Now the next step is we will be putting some brine on top, and that really helps with this fermenting process and keeping the air off the sauerkraut. If the air gets in there, it will create mold, which is not what you want. Although you can normally just scoop it out very carefully and throw it out and keep going. So let me just show you what we've got in here. I'll just give it a push down and I'll give it a lift up to show you guys. Actually, better still, let's just go a little bit sideways with the Thermi. Put this up here, and now you can see. See if we can get this camera on it for you guys. You can see the really big jar of cabbage ready to go there. So up the top here, what you're looking for is you're looking for it to be having enough space to grow, because otherwise you're going to run into trouble. But also we need a bit more water in there. We need that brine in there. So what I've done a moment ago is I've put some of the Himalayan salt in with some boiling water. So I've just put it into a nice clean jar. You do need to use filtered water, otherwise chlorine in water kills the bacteria you're trying to grow. So that's why you use filtered water in things like yogurts and things like that, and halloumis, because it's part of the process that you need to have clean filtered water, or bottled water if you don't have filtered water. So what I did is I put half a tablespoon, one tablespoon, sorry, of Himalayan salt, a little bit of boiling water, and I gave it a little swish around until it dissolved. Topped it up with cold water from the filtered tap, just to make sure that it's chilled enough now that it's at body temperature. You don't want it too hot in there. Now all I'm doing is pouring this over the top. It's about 500 mils and letting it seep down. Now the one thing I haven't added, which I've just remembered, is my caraway seeds. These don't have to be added, but they're a nice addition. They throw a really nice flavour into it. And I actually don't think that I'm going to be able to fit much of that brine in at this rate. A lot of liquid came out of the cabbage, and you will find every single batch you make has a little bit of a different property to it. It's an organic product, so it's going to be different each time. So you can see though how frothy that is on the top. Now you want to push all that cabbage in, because if you don't have the cabbage submerged, you're going to risk it getting all gross. Now, next thing that has to happen is you want to have a weight on the top of your sauerkraut. Otherwise, it's going to float and you're going to get it above the water, and when it's out, it will get moldy. So the best thing to do is use one of your leaves, your outer leaves. Make it about the size of what you want in there. The other thing this does is it actually protects your bottom substances from mold, because you can just remove this and it kind of takes that away, any of those foreign things that shouldn't be in there. So I'm going to put this down the sides. Now this brand comes with some weights as well. I just need to remove them from my other container outside before I can show you before they go on. But they come with some little ceramic weights that actually push it down, push it into the liquid, and it remains down for then at least a week to ferment it. Now in summer it will take less time to ferment because it's so warm, but in winter it does take a while. I think mine's been about 2 weeks. You can't really over ferment, it just gets saltier along the way. So it really is something where it doesn't really over ferment. So I'm just putting this around, layering it down, and then later on when I grab those weights out of that other container out there, because we decant that into some smaller jars, I'll use those weights to hold this down. The most important thing coming up though, and I'm just checking, there's a little bit of, I did wash it, but there's a little bit of muck on them too, so I don't want to contaminate. The other thing that's worth doing on top is you either need to put a cheesecloth on top or some washers, clean washers, to let the air in and out, but not too much air in and out, and certainly not any bugs in and out. Or you need to have like the lid that I've got on mine. What's out there, I can't show you. which actually does the same job. So it allows that air in and out without contaminating and allowing the bacteria to grow that aren't supposed to grow. So it's got a water seal in it. So that's the only other part of sauerkraut. No tight lid on. It can't breathe. It can't then grab the stuff from the air to do the fermenting that it needs to do. So it has to be, and not even a loose lid. It'll just go moldy. It needs to be some cheesecloth or something like that that allows the air to change spaces. So there is how you make sauerkraut in your Thermomix, really simply and quickly. That is a lot of sauerkraut. That's a lot of money worth of sauerkraut if you're buying it. So have a go at it. If you've never tried it, do have it one day. Give it a go, see what you think, and see if it's something you want to make in your Thermomix. It is really quite good for your gut health. And now I've shown you how simple and quick it is as well. So if, oh, by the way, just one other tip, if it starts drying out in the week, add a little bit more of your brine to it. Okay, keep it brined up so it keeps it submerged under the water. Otherwise, have a fantastic day. Have a fantastic day, guys. Reach out if I can help in any way with your thermomixing. I'm here to inspire you to get more out of your Thermomix and use it in ways beyond what at the moment you are using it. So please, if there's a recipe suggestion, if there's something you'd like to see, do reach out. I'd love to hear from you. But otherwise, bye for now.